Brexton Busch's arms gave out. That is the simple truth behind one of the most talked about runner-up finishes in grassroots racing this summer. The 11-year-old son of the late two-time NASCAR champion Kyle Busch had the speed to win at Colorado National Speedway. He had the track position. He had the leader right in front of him. But at the halfway point of the race, his own body became the one opponent he could not pass. And here is what makes this story remarkable. The way Brexton handled that moment and what he did over the next 2 nights may have proven more about his future than any checkered flag ever could. To understand why this weekend mattered so much, you need to know where Brexton Busch stands right now. He has spent the past year building a reputation as one of the most exciting young racers in grassroots motorsports. Every weekend seems to bring another opportunity to learn, improve, and race against experienced competition. His latest challenge came at Colorado National Speedway, a track known as the fastest short track in the West. During a 3-night Cars Tour West Legends event that ran from July 31 to August 2, 2026, this was Brexton's first time racing Legends cars at this facility, and the stage was a big one. The preliminary entry list featured 41 cars with features paying $500 to win each night and $1,500 to win in the Frank's Radio Legend Car event on Saturday. Legends car racing is known for producing close competition, quick races, and very little room for error. These machines are designed to replicate old-style cars from the 1930s on a 5/8 scale running on Yamaha motorcycle engines, with speeds topping out between 115 and 140 miles per hour. Drivers have to be aggressive enough to gain positions but smart enough to avoid unnecessary risks. And the history of this division speaks for itself. Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. all started out in Legends cars. So did Kyle Busch, out in Las Vegas. This is the proving ground where future NASCAR stars are made. There was another presence at the track that weekend worth mentioning. Samantha Busch, Brexton's mother, was in Colorado cheering him on. She shared with fans that this was not the path any of them imagined, but that the family would keep carrying Kyle with them in everything they do, taking things one race, one adventure, and one day at a time. With his mother watching from the sidelines, Brexton rolled off the grid for the opening night with expectations already running high. He started the race from 5th position. For many young drivers, starting in the middle of the top 10 means spending several laps trying to find a rhythm before making a move. That was not the case for Brexton. As soon as the race got underway, he immediately began working his way through traffic. He made clean passes, carried impressive speed, and wasted very little time climbing into 2nd place. Moving from 5th to 2nd so quickly was not just about having a fast car. By the early stages of the race, Brexton had already established himself as one of the fastest drivers on the track. From that point forward, all attention shifted to the battle for the lead. As the laps continued, Brexton stayed close enough to keep the pressure on the race leader. Nothing suggested he was fading. In fact, it looked like fans might be watching another memorable Busch victory. Then the race reached its halfway point. Instead of gaining ground, Brexton suddenly found it harder to keep matching the leader's pace. The gap grew, the challenge faded, and the young driver who had been charging just minutes earlier settled into a defensive rhythm, protecting his position rather than attacking for the win. After the checkered flag, fans finally learned why. Brexton explained exactly what happened in a post on social media. He revealed that he finished 2nd on the first night, that he started 5th and got to 2nd pretty quick, and that around halfway my arms started to get tired and I couldn't hang with the leader. He closed by saying he was pretty happy with the evening, with 2 more nights still to go. That short message said a lot. His arms became tired halfway through the race, making it difficult to continue pushing at the same level as the leader. For young drivers, physical endurance often becomes one of the biggest lessons during longer races. Racing is not only about steering a car around the track. Experienced drivers spend years building that endurance. Brexton is still developing those skills, and this race became another valuable step in that process. But here is the part that separates this story from an ordinary racing recap. What makes this performance impressive is not that he finished 2nd. It is how he handled the situation once he realized he could not fight for the lead. Many young drivers would start forcing the issue. Some overdrive the car, others make costly mistakes while trying to keep up. Brexton did neither. He managed his pace, protected his position, and brought the car home in second place. That kind of decision-making often separates talented young drivers from future professionals. Night 2 brought an entirely different kind of test. Saturday, August 1st, 2026, was the biggest night of the weekend at Colorado National Speedway, headlined by the cars Tour West Pro Late Models racing for $7,500 to win. For the Legends division, the drama started before the racing even settled in. The Fast Dash, a 20-lap event paying $500 to win, saw a dramatic opening lap that brought out a red flag after a multi-car incident in Turn 1, which included one car rolling over. Safety crews responded quickly and all drivers were okay. Once the racing surface was cleared, the field returned to action. On the restart, the number 12H of Colton Hale took command and Brexton went to work. He worked underneath Joey Lobu to take second place and chased Hale all the way to the checkered flag, finishing as the runner-up in the Fast Dash. The 30-lap feature that followed turned into a war of attrition, just 3 laps in. Slight contact between two competitors in Turn 2 brought out the first caution. Then, just after the restart, another incident high in Turn 1 slowed the field once again. When racing resumed, Colton Hale launched into the lead, and Chris Eggleston briefly grabbed second with help from the cars behind him. But Brexton quickly fought his way back into the runner-up spot. By lap 14, Hale had already caught lap traffic, but Brexton refused to let him escape, remaining tucked tightly behind the leader as they threaded their way through slower cars. Despite applying constant pressure, Brexton could not find an opening to complete the pass. A caution with 10 laps remaining erased Hale's advantage after a car spun on the backstretch. Hale and Brexton both chose the inside lane for the restart and again pulled away from the field, only for another caution to wave on lap 24 after a car came to rest on the front stretch. The race resumed with 6 laps to go, but another incident on the backstretch brought out a red flag with just 5 laps remaining. What happened next became the defining moment of the night. Brexton rocketed to the front on the ensuing restart, but his momentum stalled when he became trapped in the outside lane, allowing Neil Doolin and Chris Eggleston to surge past. Out front, Colton Hale never faltered, crossing the stripe first and completing a clean sweep of both the Fast Dash and the feature. Brexton finished 4th. By his own account, the night stung. He later explained that he was able to get the lead with 5 laps to go, but missed the bottom on the restart and gave it away, then got hung out on the outside and ended up 4th. Speed was never the problem on Saturday night. Restarts and lane choice became the new lesson. Sunday, August 2nd, 2026, delivered the third and final examination of the weekend. And this one had nothing to do with traffic or restarts. It was a midday race on a hot summer afternoon, and the track surface turned slick under the sun. In the Fast Dash, Brexton found himself in the middle of the action once again. He and Neil Doolin worked past Austin Steinke early, and Brexton then battled Riley Hutchins, bouncing between Hutchins' rear bumper and Doolin's front end before completing the pass in a thrilling 3-wide battle. But the fight did not stop there. Hutchins and Joey Lobu answered almost immediately. Steinke charged back through the field and knocked Brexton from the top 5 with 6 laps remaining, and Brexton briefly reclaimed a spot inside the top 5 before the number 5E of Eli Black worked past him once again. In the 30-lap feature, Colton Hale wasted no time taking command while Eli Black immediately moved into second. Brexton soon worked past Austin Steinke to take 4th as the leaders began settling into a rhythm. Up front, Black finally made his move with a bump to Hale's rear bumper before slipping past to take the lead, and he drove away to win the feature in dominant fashion. Brexton crossed the line in 4th place, behind Eli Black, Colton Hale, and Joey Lobu. His own summary of the day captured the conditions perfectly. He described the afternoon as hot and slick, said he slid around for 30 laps, and emphasized that he brought the car home in one piece with a return to dirt racing coming the following weekend. Step back and look at the full picture of the weekend. 3 nights of racing produced 3 completely different lessons. Night 1 exposed physical endurance, Night 2 exposed restart execution and lane choice. Night 3 demanded tire and track management on a slick surface in brutal heat. A second-place finish followed by a pair of fourth-place runs may not sound like headlines, but for a developing driver, that weekend was a complete education. And that education carries far more weight when you understand everything Brexton Busch has been through in 2026. Earlier this year, his father, Kyle Busch, died on May 21 at the age of 41 after complications from severe pneumonia progressed into sepsis. The two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion collapsed during a simulator session the Wednesday of race week at Charlotte and was rushed to the hospital. He died the next day, just days before he was set to race in the Coca-Cola 600. His sudden death sent shockwaves through NASCAR. Kyle Busch remains the all-time leader in combined victories across NASCAR's top 3 National Touring Series with 234 wins, and he won his final race just 6 days before his death, driving into victory lane in the Truck Series race at Dover. The entire Busch family, including Brexton, his mother Samantha, and his sister Lennox, were honored during an emotional pre-race ceremony before the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway on May 24, 2026. Then, on June 2, just hours after a private memorial service was held for his father in the Charlotte area, 11-year-old Brexton Busch was back in a race car, running laps in a practice session for the Cookout Summer Shootout. Retired NASCAR driver Mark Martin captured the emotion of that day, writing, "My eyes watered a lot yesterday. Brexton's first race back produced heartbreak." He led the majority of the summer shootout feature at Charlotte Motor Speedway before being passed on the final lap by Landon Thrasher, finishing second after leading nearly the entire race. But he did not stay down for long. As the weeks went on, his confidence continued to grow and he earned his first summer shootout victory. Then came another emotional milestone at Port City Raceway in Oklahoma, where Brexton charged from deep in the field to win the Restrictor Micro feature. It was his first victory since his father's passing, and afterward he shared a message with fans, writing, "My first win since my dad passed," and admitting the previous 2 months had been really tough because he was missing his crew chief, his driver coach, and his dad, adding that he knew his father would be proud. Only a few days later, he was involved in a hard crash during the summer shootout. Fortunately, he escaped without serious injury and was determined to get right back in the race car. That resilience is exactly what showed up again in Colorado, where he arrived at an unfamiliar track and immediately drove from 5th to 2nd on opening night. The racing world has already made room for what comes next. Richard Childress Racing announced that Kyle Busch's number 8 would be suspended permanently unless Brexton wanted to use it should he enter the series. The team stated that the number 8 is reserved and ready for Brexton Busch when he is ready to go NASCAR racing. For those keeping track, Brexton can compete in the NASCAR Truck Series as early as age 16, and he cannot turn laps in a Cup car until he is 18. His pedigree runs deep. His uncle Kurt Busch won a Cup Series title in 2004. His father won championships in 2015 and 2019. And last year alone, Brexton won 48 competitions in multiple disciplines of racing. From Legends cars and Bandoleros to Micros, Bandits, late models, and sprint cars. This is why the Colorado weekend matters more than a trophy. Young drivers improve fastest when they identify weaknesses early and turn them into strengths. Colorado National Speedway handed Brexton 3 concrete development areas in a single weekend, and he now knows exactly where he was competitive and exactly what limited his final runs. He was fast at a brand new track in a new region against a field of more than 40 Legends cars. And across 3 nights of racing, he never wrecked and never forced the issue. Instead of leaving frustrated, he left with confidence, valuable information, and a clear direction for his team. There is a pattern forming across his 2026 season that goes beyond results. Composure under unimaginable emotional pressure, adaptability across completely different disciplines and surfaces, and honest self-assessment in his own words after every race, whether the news is good or disappointing. His father would have recognized all of it, because Kyle Busch understood better than almost anyone that racing does not hand out fairy tale endings on demand. Losing well is part of learning to win. Colorado National Speedway did not end with a victory for Brexton Busch, but it delivered something that could be just as important. Every race adds another chapter to his development, and performances like this show exactly why expectations around him continue to grow. He is back on dirt next weekend and the development tour rolls on. Do you think Brexton Busch reaches NASCAR faster than his father did? Drop your prediction in the comments below, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest NASCAR news, race analysis, and updates.